In this photo taken 3 years ago, we can see how the President of the United States, Joe Biden, stumbles as he goes up the stairs getting into Air Force One. Now this picture is more than just an embarrassment, but it symbolizes that America's leaders have become incompetent and weak as time has gone on. This has contributed to the growing divide between Americans and their government. I'm Gino Bello, and I will be talking about how this divide has happened over the last couple of years. Now, my research sought to answer the question of in what ways is this pleasure with the US government justified by political affairs in the 21st century? But first, before we see what bad leaders are, we should take a look at what a good leader, a true leader, does. In 1933, when FDR was inaugurated, the United States was in the midst of a Great Depression. In this speech, he urged Congress to act, and even he said, and I quote, that I shall not evade the clear course of duty that will then confront me. This is what a true leader does, a fighter. Even if Congress wasn't gonna be on track with him, he was still gonna do things with the American people to get them out of the recession and the depression that they were in. Nowadays, we have a two-party system that has failed the American people. As a Gallup poll in 2018 indicates that 44% of Americans identify as independents, while only 54% identify with one of the big two parties, with 32% identifying with Democrats and only 22% identifying as Republicans. This two-party system is outdated, as most countries in the world have more than two parties, and two parties is not enough to encompass the wide range of beliefs people can have. This failed two-party system did have an effect on American politics, as in 2016, in both parties, we saw more extremist and populist wings of each party rise to the top in the polls. In the Republican Party, we saw Donald Trump win the nomination and eventually win the presidency, and overtaking the traditional conservative party of the Republican establishment. While on the Democratic side, we saw a more socialist candidate in Bernie Sanders, who also targeted the middle class and targeted lower class voters in order to form a new coalition of voters that these parties had not reached previously. Now, in 2024, there's a new election cycle. Yet this election cycle is just a rematch of the previous elections. And according to Ipsos poll, 59% of Americans believe that both candidates are too old to be the leader of this country. Americans want new candidates and fresh faces. They don't want more than 70-year-old guys who cannot represent what the average American looks like. Another factor that has led to a displeasure with the American government is Congress. Congress has a 13% approval rating according to a Gallup poll in December of 2023. And especially this Congress has been more concerned with drama and filling their pockets up with money than actually getting things done for the American people. And of course, a president can only bear so much blame, as without their Congress, they can't really do much. Now, another factor that has led to distrust of the American government is the intelligence agencies, the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA. These agencies have unchecked power, and the leaders of these agencies are not elected, but appointed. Now, of course, there's been countless conspiracy theories about what these agencies do, but these are just conspiracy theories until they are proven. And this is what happened when Edward Snowden, a former employee for the NSA, exposed more than 1.7 million documents, according to Reuters. And in these documents, there was information that said that the NSA had been actively collecting telephone records for your average citizen. Now, Congress did take action after these leaks to prevent the NSA from collecting records of average Americans, and also courts in the US deemed these practices to be unconstitutional. Now, the resolution is Americans' distrust of the US government is justified due to constant lies and inaction at every single level of government. And the impacts this has on America's future is that there will be continued political instability and polarization as people seek more extreme remedies to the problems that America faces every day. Furthermore, there is a lack of trust in the American government, which can be dangerous as for even normal activities and loyalty to the country is at risk. But there is a positive benefit as changes and new people will rise and will bring new ideas to an outdated system. Thank you.
All right, 2 questions for you. First up, how valid and reliable were the sources that you used, and then how do you know?
Well, these sources, I used a lot of polling, and polling usually tries to take a snapshot of American and the American public's opinion at a certain time. And for example, Congress had a 13% approval rating, but Congress's approval rating has been in the teens and low 20s throughout most of the 21st century. So it is a constant trend that has been further discovered in this Congress session.
Okay, and if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct to related to this issue?
I would have conducted more research into more of the Americans' views on their previous presidents and potentially compared the approval ratings and how there's the uptick of riots and protests are in recent years are more than previous presidents and generations.